See you at the party, Richter.
Welcome to See You at the Potty, Richter. This is Aaron here once again, welcoming you to the final re-released episode of Arnold's 1996 movie Eraser. This was one of our earliest recordings. We just wanted to release them on YouTube, so I went back and cleaned them up a little bit and figured we might as well just re-release them through podcast as well. So anyway, they have a little bit of extra content, and you can actually, hear them because I turned the volume up. But, and Erica also joins us at the end of the episode to give us a pretty interesting theory/story about one of the actors that's in the movie. We do forget, FYI, just a disclaimer, we do forget to say allegedly a lot when we're discussing it. So everything we discuss is just us doing guesswork, and we don't actually know what we're talking about, and we don't know anything for certain, like for what happened. So just pretend that we keep saying allegedly before any statements we make while discussing the details. Sorry. Alleged details. Okay, anyway, enjoy part 2 of our way too detailed summary, and we should have a brand new episode up for you guys soon.
What happened?
They called a train.
Okay, they arrive at the docks a few hours later and meet up with his cousin Tony Two Toes, who's surprised to see Eldon because he's supposed to be dead. Cousin Tony accuses Eldon of being a rat, but apparently it's okay because the guy he ratted out was a drug dealer. So Eldon tells him they have bigger problems right now, and Arnold explains the deal that's going down at midnight on the docks. Same time, James Caan is also at the docks with the Russian cartel guy as they load the weapons onto his ship. The Russian guy mentions the extra security and asks him if he's expecting trouble. James Caan tells him that he likes to be prepared. He asks why he brought Vanessa Williams, who's tied to a chair. James Caan says that she's an insurance policy in case anyone shows up. Then, just like in case there's anyone who's still watching that's unsure if he's the villain or not, he offers up Vanessa Williams to the Russian, who, shockingly is okay with that.
Yeah. And there's always got to be some rapey undertones.
Yeah.
It's always necessary.
So, meanwhile, Arnold, who's walking along the docks with his new crew, calls up James Coburn, tells him that he has proof that Cyrus is selling weapons on the black market, and then James Caan and Undersecretary of Defense Harper are both in on it. He then tells him it's going down at the Baltimore docks, come and get me, and tosses the cell phone on the ground without hanging it up so they can trace the call. Back at the docks, James Caan tells his men that they're loading up the last weapon, so keep an eye out for Arnold. Just as they're closing the front gate, Eldon, Cousin Tony, and their crew show up and tell the guard that they're from the local 129. They heard there was a shipping loaded and that nothing on the docks is supposed to be done unless it's loaded by union workers. But little do the guards know that while they're dealing with this, Arnold is sneaking in through the roof where he comes across 2 guards on the ground below. He does sort of like a backflip thing off a crate as they begin shooting at him, lands behind them, knocks him out in a way that kind of reminds me of True Lies, but not done as well.
They know he's there because he rustles up some birds.
A guard in the tower radios to James Caan that there's gunfire in the warehouse as Eldon, Cousin Tony, and the guy bum rush the front gate guards and then disable the security camera. They then rendezvous with Arnold, who signals for them to go around back as he goes through the warehouse. He breaks a window, hops in as tower guards with the railgun scans the warehouse through the gun's X-ray scope. He notices movement, but it just ends up being a cat. But this isn't just any cat, though, because I found out that, and I honestly don't know how I found this out, this particular cat has its own page dedicated to it on a website called cinemacats.com. Which apparently is a website dedicated to the cataloging the appearance of cats in films.
The cat-a-logging?
Yeah, exactly. Cat-a-logging. So I'm not going to show you the website, but here, I'll send a link to you in case you wanted to look at it.
So what other movies has this cat been in?
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't say. It goes by movie, I think. So if you want to find out which movie or when a cat is in what movie, you can just look at that website. Wow. Anywho, the tower guards end up spotting Arnold, begin to open fire. He starts running through the warehouse as more guards begin firing at him until the whole warehouse pretty much sort of explodes with Arnold seemingly falling into the fire while yelling, "Yeah!" It's a pretty intense scene, and I think the fine people over at cinemacats.com summed it up best when they wrote, quote, "We wonder if the cat managed to get out of the warehouse before it blew up."
Oh yeah, don't forget that's the final musing
Yes.
MEWSINGS.
I saw that and I was like, they're final musings. So as we watch the warehouse burn, cat-free, hopefully, James Caan orders 2 of his men to go inside and make sure Arnold is dead. Inside the warehouse, he's not dead, and he does have a big-ass piece of metal like sticking out through his leg that looks like something that just broke off a T-1000. But as the guy enters the warehouse, Arnold fiddles with the shotgun that was damaged in the explosion, but just finally gives up and instead of just throws it at one of the near one of the guards. The guard picks it up and is then immediately blasted by one of the tower guards outside that mistake him for Arnold. The other guard continues to search, and then Arnold pulls the piece of metal out of his leg and stabs the searching guard with it. He then grabs his pistol and then somehow breaks through the wooden planks that make up the floorboard and then slips beneath as 2 more guards enter the warehouse. He then crawls directly beneath them, shoots them from below the floorboards, just straight up through the floorboards with the pistols, killing them both. This is when he decides to do the most Schwarzenegger thing possible and just bust through the floorboards head first, even though he was just on his back.
Yeah, no, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I gotta hand it to that scene. It just looked cool.
I think it's right here where the directors just wanted to get the movie over with and was just just fuck it, just give the guns to Arnold.
Yeah. You want to give him a gun? No, not gun. Give the guns to Arnold.
Is there any way you can carry more than 2 guns?
I don't know about that, sir. All right, fuck it.
So he grabs the railguns, blows away a couple dudes, then uses one of their radios to tell James Caan he's going to go all Kathy Bates from Misery on his ass and heads outside. James Caan responds by having everyone with a gun shoot the warehouse. Meanwhile, back on the ship, the Russian is like, "It looks like your friend has arrived." And Vanessa Williams is like, "He's going to fuck you up." And so the Russian is like, "I had to write this phonetically, so I..." "Well, then I guess we will kill you now," and bust out his knife. Little does he know that Vanessa Williams loosened her restraints, so when one of the explosion outside distracts the Russian, she pulls her hand free, grabs an instant coffee pot, breaks it over the commie's head, and then says, "Sorry, I'm kind of cranky before I have my coffee." See? Now that's a good line. That would have been great. We just add more lines to the movie.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget they're not commies. They're as little Mikey says there.
Oh yes, that's right.
Little Mikey says they're not communists anymore, Tony. They're a federation of independent liberal states. So they're federation. She's like, "Yeah, you federation guy." Anyway, so she says goodbye with a kick to the face and head towards the door. Back at the warehouse, Arnold emerges from the fiery mess with the railgun on each arm, just begins to blow the fuck pretty much out of everything that's moving. Meanwhile, a guard up in the booth operating the crane is using his railgun to look around when he sees Eldon and his crew on the ground who have a sniper rifle aimed straight at him. Before the guard can get off a shot, they snipe his ass by firing one straight through his x-ray scope into his eye. The guard falls onto the crane controls and the crate they were preparing to load falls to the ground. As this is happening, Vanessa Williams is making her way off the ship when she starts getting shot at, but just barely escapes. While making her getaway, Arnold is still blowing the shit out of everything, including a pickup truck that's just barreling towards him. Then somehow, even though he was just on the ground 4 seconds earlier and she was running away, James Caan appears on top of a shipping container with Vanessa Williams as his hostage, which makes me curious if there was a missing scene of him capturing her, but whatever. He tells Arnold to drop the guns. Arnold has a second where he looks at both guns and then looks back up at them, and he's maybe considering letting her die just so he can keep those sweet guns, you know? Yeah.
He decides against it, drops the guns. James Caan shoots him for not choosing the guns like a chump. James Caan then tells whoever is controlling the crane to finish loading it up as Arnold kind of staggers towards the moving container. Up on the ship, the free liberated Russians, I can't remember what word they're called, the Russians. The Russian is woken up from his coffee-induced coma, tells his men to shoot Arnold, which I guess they wouldn't have done unless he said something.
Yeah.
So one of the Russian men that the actor, the shooting guys, is played by the same actor that's Killian's bodyguard in The Running Man, just older and less steroidy. Which, if you're looking for it, it's pretty easy to
like pinpoint. But so Arnold jumps up, manages to grab onto the shipping container that they're on, and as it's being lifted into the air, the Russians continue shooting at Arnold as a big-ass tractor's front-end loader claw shovel thing. I couldn't remember. Like, I was trying to write this, and I was like, what the fuck is that thing called? Like a big shovel? It's a front-end loader? But it lifts into view right in front of the Russians, and up pop Eldon and the Union Boys, which sounds like a band from the 80s, with their own machine guns, and just begin mowing down the Russians. So now that Arnold is clear of gunfire, he begins to crawl up the container, and as he's doing this, James Caan picks a bad time to lean over the side to check if Arnold's still hanging on, and is just immediately greeted by Arnold's fist. He falls down, drops the gun. Arnie climbs up, grabs James Caan's leg, but James Caan remembers he has 2 legs and he kicks him in the face with the other one. So he gets up, decides that he liked the way Arnold's face felt against his leg, and he gives him he knees him right to the kisser. So with Arnold down for a second, James Caan walks over to his gun, but then the shipping container tilts under his weight. Gun slides the other side. He decides this is all right, pulls out a crowbar from someplace, and then walks over to Arnold and just starts going to town on him with it. Which I like how, in order to make this a fair fight, they basically had to cripple Arnold. Yeah. Because he's been in an explosion, he has an open wound on his leg, and then he got shot in the shoulder.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, it's better than what they did in Commando with him and Bennett at the end.
Yeah. Well, and then even after that, the director's still I don't know. I think maybe the dad from MILF should have a crowbar, just so we can make it a fair fight.
And make it all shaky too, so no one can have a good footing.
But the thing is, even with all that to his advantage, it takes 2 seconds before Arnold has him in a headlock.
Yeah.
And begins to choke him out with the crane's chain. So as he's doing this, Vanessa Williams moves towards a gun. Just as she's about to grab it, the container tilts again, and she slides over the side. Arnold lets go of James Caan's neck, grabs her arm just as she is sliding over the side. He pulls her up. James Caan crawls over to the other side, grabs his gun, and is about to shoot. Then when Arnold uses the crowbar to break the crane's chain thing, which causes the shipping container as well as Arnold and James Caan to fall to the ground below while she's hanging on to the ladder that's attached to the crane. So apparently the stunt guy, his name's Peter Kent, was hurt really badly during the scene. There's actually a Cracked article that features him that's pretty interesting. Just him talking about being Arnold. He's Arnold Schwarzenegger's, he was his stunt double for 10 years or something like that. But he says that, quote, Arnold takes a crowbar, smashes the gear holding the shipping container up. The box falls 100 feet to the docks and shatters. We had cable cutters on all 4 corners of the box, but when we did the scene, the final cable held. There wasn't sufficient voltage in the system to fire the last cutter. This was a big cable as thick as my wrist, and we used aerospace cutters, which apparently they use on the space shuttles. So add it all up and you get 3 tons of metal spinning on one angry axis. That's when the wire holding me unspooled and let me fly. James Caan's stunt guy slid down the box. Me, I dropped straight past it. Then the whole container spun around, smacked me towards the warehouse wall. And then it happened again and again, and it just kept sucking me in and swatting me out.
Jesus.
He says, I broke my collarbone, my shoulder blade, my ankle, and 3 separated ribs. The next day I got a call from some oblivious PA asking if I was coming in, and I said I wasn't. It ended his stunt career.
Damn.
Yeah. So he stopped doing it after that, and I guess now he runs a stunt school. And he actually has some pretty good stories from that article, which I'll share as we get to those movies. Okay, so Arnold slowly gets back to his feet as James Coburn's chopper arrives, begins circling around with the spotlight. Arnold hears James Caan calling to him for help, sees he's trapped under the middle door of the container. So Arnold goes over, begins to help him lift the door, and James Caan decides to show his appreciation by pulling out a gun. Arnold grabs his wrist right before he can take aim, and he kind of ends up firing the round in the air as Arnold's like, son of a bitch! As he disarms him. Or son of a bitch. I don't remember what he says. Anyway, James Coburn walks up to them. He notices the railgun spilled out everywhere in the busted shipping container and shakes his head like a disappointed father as they're arresting James Caan. As they take him away, Vanessa Williams runs up to Arnold and hugs him, but the scene fades away before they have a chance to kiss because apparently American audiences in the 90s just weren't ready for that yet.
Guess not.
Yeah. Anyway, a few days later, James Caan and Underwater Secretary Harper are leaving the courthouse after being indicted for treason when they're surrounded by the fake news for a statement. The underwear secretary is like, no comment, but James Caan doubles down on being an asshole by saying he's proud of what he's done and then calls himself patriotic and spouts off some bullshit how they were stopped a secret alliance that the administration had with U.S. enemies. I don't know.
Yeah, some bullshit.
Yeah, but they walk away as Arnold and Vanessa come out of the courthouse. She asks if the dickheads are going to get away with it. Arnold's like, yeah, probably, but you did well in there. He then asks her if she's ready. She nods yes. Before getting into the limo with Undersecretary Harper and Chuck from Cyrez, James Caan watches watches them get into a van. As he turns towards the limo, the van suddenly explodes. Old James Caan smirks, gets into the limo, and we're shown a sewer grate closing shut underneath the van. Limo pulls away. The three shitbags are discussing whether or not they should start selling weapons again. James Caan says that now that Vanessa Williams is dead, they shouldn't have a problem getting off. Chuck from Cyrez asks about the people she's had contact with, and James Caan is basically like, fuck it, I'll kill them all. Tells Undersecretary good job with blowing up the van. Undersecretary looks at him confused, tells him he didn't blow up the van, he thought James Caan did it. Just then, the limo screeches to a halt at the train tracks crossing as the passenger doors lock, and Eldon from Murphy Brown, now dressed as a chauffeur, hops out of the driver's seat and walks away from the car. Dickheads look around confused while the limo's corded cell begins to ring. Underwater secretary answers it and then tells James Caan that it's for him. He puts the phone up to his ear as he looks out the window and sees Arnold, who tells him, "You've just been erased." The train crossing lights suddenly start flashing, going ding, 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 as the two no crossing gates come down, front and back. Look out the window and see the choo-choo train coming towards them with his horns blaring. Start freaking out, unsuccessfully open the doors. The train smashes into them, completely destroying the limo, and I would assume killing them. Arnold just kind of stands there and watches them like a psychopath as Eldon drives away and gives him a wave. He then heads to his Jeep, which is hidden around the corner, which Vanessa Williams is waiting in, and asks him what happened. He just looks at her, smiles. It's like, they caught a train. And then, yeah.
And the end. So what train was that? Because, like,
looks like a freighter train.
Yeah, but imagine if you're the fucking train driver.
Conductor,
thank you. That was the word I was looking for. You're just like, oh, fuck, it's a limo. Oh, Jesus Christ. Like, I can't stop in time. I'm a goddamn train. And then you hit a train and it immediately blows up. And you're just like, fuck, there's probably people in there. Like, that sucks for the train driver.
Yeah, that does suck for the train driver. Arnold wasn't worried about that. There's collateral damage, I guess. Damn, I could have worked that one in too. Okay, there's like 3 trivia things that are quick. First one was you've already mentioned was there's the first song in the credits is called "Where Do We Go From Here," which was performed by Vanessa Williams, who actually starred in the movie. Oh. Secondly, the movie was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Sound Effects Editing, but lost to The Ghost in the Darkness, which was awesome.
Interesting.
And then the movie has a sequel in the form of a video game called Eraser Turnabout. It's a first-person shooter from Windows 95 where you play as Arnold's character and only have like a few hours to shut down a conspiracy that threatens the free world. I'd play a clip, but I looked at it and it's boring as fuck. So like, let's not here. There's the YouTube link if you ever want to check it out. It sucks.
Okay, well, now that we're at the post credits, I got some great names here for you. I got 2 actors. One is Roma Mafia, which is just like this whole mafia thing. That's just funny. There's somebody named Patrick Kilpatrick.
Why would you do that to your kid?
I don't know if it's like one of those like Cam Cameron things, like everybody just calls you Patrick because your last name's Kilpatrick, and that just becomes like your name,
Yeah.
Possibly. Got a couple stunt guys, Danny Epper, who we mentioned earlier, Max Daniels, which is just, I like the image of like, well, like, how many Daniels do we need? We need Max Daniels. Like, find me all the fucking Daniels. A guy named Dick Zeiker.
What's the last name?
Zeiker. Z-I-K-E-R. It's just Dick Zeiker is just a great name.
It sounds like, yeah.
What's your name? Dick Zeiker.
I like how they won't go by Richard. No, it's Dick.
No, yeah. If your last name's like Wolf, you don't go by Richard Wolf. You go by Dick Wolf. Taking it back to Law and Order stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of alligators and I guess crocodiles, the video engineer was Steve Irwin. So imagine it's the same one, but
Yeah.
probably not.
I would think so.
The costumer for Vanessa Williams is named Cookie Lopez, which is just a cool name.
Yeah.
Staff assistant is named Winona Wacker, which is just funny. Skydiving coordinator was Guy Manos, which is just man hands. Manos is
Yeah,
hands in
it's
Spanish. Supervising sound editor, Bub Assman. It's
Bub
Asman.
Oh,
Assman, but I like to think it was Bub Assman.
Assman, yeah.
What was the name you mentioned earlier? One of the actors.
Michael Papajan?
Yeah, his name is Papa John. This guy's name is John Bonds, like
John
Barry
Bonds?
Bonds.
Oh,
John Bonds. I'm like, that sucks.
Jonathan. Yeah, I'm assuming they went with Jonathan, but okay, yeah, continue.
No, it's John.
No, I
So,
mean,
I
like,
mean, it could be a
originally,
Jonathan.
like, they're like, oh, no, it's Jonathan. They don't think through the name before they name him.
Jonathan Bonds. Yeah. Foley editor. I don't know what that is, but this guy's name is Butch Wolf, which is just a cool name.
Yeah.
Assistant ADR editor is Dean Manley,
That's,
which is also a great name.
yeah.
I feel like there's a Community joke in there, but
You-
I don't know what it is.
You can't, with the last name Manley, I feel like you can't have him named like, Dean sounds about right.
Butch Manley.
Or sorry, Butch. Was it Dean or Butch?
No, it's Dean, but
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
yeah,
saying
but you need,
can't
like, a
him
name like that.
Butch Manley. Yeah. And then the last one, my personal favorite, co-captain. His name is Randy Muscleman.
Is it spelled
Which is
exactly like Muscleman?
I think it's more muscle, like the food
Yeah.
or the animal,
Oh,
as
okay,
opposed
okay.
to
MUSS.
so Ellie, yeah. But not only it like
Yeah, still.
like
that's
Muscle
good.
Man's a great name, but also just like it's give him a first name that's associated with being horny. Yes, I'm Randy Muscle Man. But yeah, so all right, that's all I got.
Okay.
Oh man, did that hurt? It had to hurt. I saw it.
Where's this?
Earth. Welcome.
Okay, so what would you say a favorite line would be from the movie?
Honestly, I'd probably say my favorite line, and it doesn't come from Arnold, which is weird, where he's like, "Where am I?" And the kid's like, "Earth."
That's my
Welcome.
favorite line too. So it's unanimous. Yes, that's what I was gonna say too.
Yeah. I felt like the Arnie lines were. I felt like they intentionally tried to like
Yeah.
keep them to a minimum. We got
Keep
a
it
couple
more
at the
serious.
end, which is, your luggage and your late traffic.
Yeah.
And they caught a train, but it was a little disappointing.
Any particular favorite kill in there?
I'd say it's like gruesomeness. The one guy getting eaten by the alligator, and the other alligator comes and rips his arm off.
Yeah, that one was good.
That's pretty hardcore. Also, cleverness. Where he tosses the gun and the other guy grabs it, and he's like, "Oh shit! Oh no!" And then he gets shot.
I like the grenade one too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, where he kicks him in there. But I don't know. I'd probably say like when Donahue killing himself, just because that was like so unexpected and just like a fucking whirlwind of shit. We're just like, whoa, what the fuck? Like I didn't see that coming.
That was unexpected.
Yeah. So what about you?
Probably the grenade one when he pulls the grenades and he kicks the guy in there. That one's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty clever.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Yeah, but they were all bad.
How many people do you? Well, like, what would you say the kill count of this movie is?
There's just a lot of random ass people who died. Even when they're in Cyrex, they're just killing. I don't know
Everybody.
if they're FBI guys or WITSEC guys or security or whatever. But Arnold's just fucking mowing those guys down. I'd say 92.
High or low? I'm gonna go with 75, even though it doesn't leave a whole lot.
Well, you can take the over under, so I'll set the over under at 92. You want the
Okay,
under?
so I guess I'm going under. So it is. Wow, there's only 52.
Huh.
It tells Kruger killed 29, DeGuerin kills 4, and then it goes by with a breakdown. Any like final thoughts? Movie? Your opinion change at all? I'm assuming not, because you were like,
If anything, watching this again, I kind of went down. It just
like
felt
the
very,
second time or the like this last time when you rewatched it before we started, or just like the first time in general?
Just from what I remember until when basically it went down from the time we recorded the intro
Yeah.
till now.
Okay.
I just felt it was just kind of, it was fine. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of a blah movie. It's just like some stuff happens. Cool. There's nothing really like memorable about it.
Yeah, true.
We just watched Face Off last night, and that was just like, this is kind of ridiculous 90s action, but enthralling,
Yeah. I thought it was better than I remembered it being, but I think maybe I didn't like it when I was younger because it's a bit slower than most of his other movies too. Like, not really, but like it has a lot more, not even more story. I don't know. Yeah, just blah was a good word, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not horrible. It's just
No, it's fine.
not memorable.
But yeah, not memorable is a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable when you're watching it, but like it's one of those you'd immediately forget.
Exactly.
So kind of sucks.
Okay. So like I said earlier, we have a guest with us today, Erica. She didn't grow up watching the movies, any Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. So you've seen a few though, right?
Yeah, just a couple.
Sad childhood.
Yeah. So what was the favorite? Because we've seen a few together. What would you say is your favorite one that you've seen out of the ones we've watched?
I liked the Terminator movies. Those were good. I liked Last Action Hero. I really liked this one, honestly. Like, yeah. I mean, I guess that's not a popular vote, but I haven't seen too many of them. I didn't fall asleep.
That's good. That's saying something.
I tend to fall asleep during everything we watch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I didn't fall asleep, so that was good.
Okay. And then you mentioned that you had an Arnold experience because Joe talked about his in the intro. Something about his car.
Oh, I was visiting my aunt and uncle in Idaho, and apparently he has a house out there. And he went by in some sort of Hummer or something, and they were like, "Oh, there's Arnold's Hummer." And I guess basically everybody in town like knows which Hummer is his. He just drives through town.
Cool.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently,
awesome.
Speaking of honorary doctorates in San Francisco State, in Arnold and Hummers, Neil Young got an honorary doctorate from San Francisco State, the Go Gators. And Neil Young convinced Arnold to make his Hummer completely electric.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I guess Arnold's Hummer is I mean, this was like 10 years, this is before like Tesla and shit, so this was like a long time ago.
I mean, this was, I was probably like, it was pretty soon after 9/11.
Oh, okay.
So I would say 2001, 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
From what I read in his book, he seems like very like, that makes sense why you would do that with this Hummer, because he seems very pro environment, which is strange for a Republican, but he's supposedly more what's it called, being in the middle?
Moderate.
Yeah, that. Okay, so was there anything about the movie that we watched that bugged you, or that you found, or like any part like that was too violent wise?
Well, I didn't like the hand part where his hand is like stuck on the fridge and you pull it off, like,
yeah, with the nail bit.
I felt that. It was disgusting to me.
Okay,
Stuff that bugged me, I guess the half-assed Pepsi sort of throw in kind of bugged me. I was
on the plane.
Yeah, on the plane, because it was like, "Nah, man, you don't want one of these waters. You want this Pepsi." But then, like, I guess it started to make sense the more I watched, where I was like, oh, I mean, because I was like, why wouldn't you have Arnold drink the Pepsi? Like, that seems like your go-to like ad that you'd want right there. But then I realized, oh,
they drug him.
Yeah, I realized they drug him, and then I was like, I guess you don't want to be like advertising that you drug somebody with Pepsi. So it made more sense to me after I watched it, but I was just like, what the heck? Like, they just kind of threw Pepsi in there like random.
See, Coke should have done the thing where they drugged him with the Pepsi. And he's like, oh, this tastes off, and then you're like, boom, perfect advertising for it.
They're all sipping Coke in the corner, like
yeah. Enjoy that nasty ass Pepsi, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
And he says it tastes off, then another one tries, like, what are you talking about? It just tastes like regular Pepsi.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, burn Pepsi. Okay. Any characters that you liked or stood out, or?
Oh, poor Fabrizio. from Titanic. He just always gets the short end of the stick.
The rookie,
Oh yeah.
the one that
Oh,
killed us.
yeah.
It's from Titanic.
Yeah, poor rookie, man. He's
Poor
just
rookie.
trying to do a good job.
He got killed by James Caan's smokestack, aka his gun.
I felt really bad for the tow truck guy.
Yeah.
Like, not only do his dumb little kids sell his truck for $50,
And a
then
parachute.
Arnold just like
And a parachute, yes.
and a parachute. Arnold just demolishes that truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he could have nicely parked it outside the zoo, but no, he like drives it straight on in. Like, he's not getting that truck back. It's like,
It's
I
true,
don't-
and yeah, and that's his lifeblood too. It's not like
Yeah.
if I lose my car, you know, I can.
Yeah.
Well,
And Arnold,
okay,
Arnold
me.
had
I
to have
can't,
known
but-
that. Like, that sucks.
Yeah. I got no response to that.
But, I mean, I felt bad for him. The whole time it was bugging me. I was like, damn, why did he, like, poor Toto guy.
Yeah. I didn't realize, I didn't think about that until you pointed out when we were watching it. I was like, yeah, that's poor guy. But favorite scene or like standout scenes or anything like that?
The explosion where you, like, think that they die in the car. I totally like predicted
van?
that was gonna happen because that happens on my soap opera. Where I was like, oh, they're not in the car. They went through the bottom of the car and they went through the storm drain. And you're like, what? They just parked the car. I'm like, there's a storm drain under it for sure. Like, it's happened at my soap opera.
Anything else?
I mean,
Any other scenes?
it shouldn't have like stuck out as much, but when the Russian guy said "Das Binanya," I'm pretty sure I like freaked out and made you pause it because I was like, oh, I know what that means. And you're like, how the heck do you know what that means? And I was like, well, any little girl that grew up watching Anastasia knows exactly what that means.
What does it mean?
It's pretty much like, peace out, see you later. Like,
He says that to Daguerre, I think, before he leaves, right?
yeah,
Okay.
like
Oh,
pretty much
it's like
like
Hasta la vista,
yeah,
baby.
Yeah.
basically like a Russian hasta la vista. Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, question. You watched this when this movie came out, right, Joe?
Yeah, I mean,
Or you
I
would have
just-
been allowed to, right? If you...
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
which, well, how old
That
were
would've
we?
been a
This
problem.
was 96?
So
So,
we
yeah.
were in our early teens.
Yeah.
This is right around the time we met.
You wouldn't have been able to watch this movie when it came out, right?
What year is this?
Not when it came out, but like when you were 13.
Would I have been
90
allowed to watch
Yes.
it when I was 13?
Yes.
No.
It's just I think it's funny how the difference with how she was raised and how I guess you were, but then how my dad raised me, because I saw all this through my dad, because my mom was pretty much the same way she was raised. Like, yeah, no way. Because I told her how old I was when we watched. I think I mentioned this already, but I told her how old I was when I watched Terminator 2, which was when it came out. I think it was like 91.
91, yeah.
Yeah, and I was what 8, 7,
Yeah.
and she's
Hey,
like,
summer in 91. So.
yeah, she's like, what did you say?
I said that's not age appropriate.
I was like, my dad took me to watch it. I don't know. I
Hey, man.
let my kid watch it. Maybe.
I mean,
maybe.
I just think like my nephew's 9 and like there's no way.
Yeah, maybe you should show him that. You can be the cool aunt.
Yeah, there you go.
Like,
No.
It's not like it's gonna give him nightmares or anything.
No, because I am in good standing with his parents and I like being the cool aunt.
That would make you the cooler aunt.
No,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I just got them a drum set and my brother just sent me a video and was like, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I was just like, sorry, man.
yeah.
Which I am totally the cool aunt right now to them, but not to
Yeah.
him.
You also mentioned how you it was great because when we were watching it, that last line,
Oh, I called it from like a mile away.
like when before he says it, she's like, what was the line?
Like when he parked the car on the train tracks, I was like, man, it's a good line. That's what he's gonna say. And like
they had to catch a train.
several minutes later, I was just like, I nailed it.
Nice.
Which again, I gotta say, like, there's no way that his character didn't plan on saying they caught a train like beforehand, because I can actually imagine on how he, like, him deciding on how he had to kill those guys based on the best plan he
Yeah.
can come up with. He's like, okay, well, so like he thinks of one, he tells her he's gonna kill them, but then refuses to say how, even though he drove her
Yeah.
there. She's like, where are we going? He's like, and so he parks and she still doesn't know what's going on. And then the best part is that she doesn't know how he killed them. And then when he gets back to the car, after doing it, she asks him and he says that. And she's like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, if the scene went on for a couple minutes longer, she's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you know, if they let the scene go on a little longer and it ends, like it fades to black as he's like, well, you know, they parked the car and then the train, it came through. And then I told you they had caught the train. And she's like, oh, and then it fades to black.
That's what that explosion was. All right, I thought you just like blew him up or something, and like, you know, I was okay. Now it makes sense. I get it.
Okay, so what happened was when we were first watching this movie, I was looking what happened to the actors, and when he popped up, when the actor that plays Eldon popped up on the screen, I was like, what happened to this guy? Like, I wonder what. Like, why isn't he in anything?
Like, okay.
And so I looked at it, and then I saw that he died of an overdose.
Oh shit, he did.
Yeah. Okay, so basically he like grew up, like he was in theater in New York in what, the 70s, I think?
Yeah.
And then he moved to LA in the 80s and got his big break in, I think,
Beverly
Hills Cop 2. Mm-hmm. And then in the 90s was in Murphy Brown, but quit that. And then in 99, his girlfriend died. And he kind of like disappeared for a little bit. But then he started getting back into stuff around 2004. Mm-hmm. It was like his thing, but then he ended up overdosing on drugs. And he died.
Damn.
Yeah, so basically, like, I was kind of like, oh, that's sad. And then Aaron's like, oh, I found this, like, weird stuff about this girlfriend that died. And I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, I guess she, like, shot herself. Basically, in 1989, they got into an argument. And her way of solving the argument was to point a gun at her head. And basically, like, basically, they end up ruling it as an accidental suicide. Like, they don't think she actually meant to kill herself. It was kind of an argument. Basically, it was just supposed to be like, hey, pay attention to me or whatever, I guess. Yeah, so I thought that was really weird. So then I started doing more of a deep dive into this guy's life. And he's basically kind of like a notorious playboy, which I was like, oh, well, no wonder she got upset. Like, I guess basically she got upset because she was like, you've been cheating on me. And like, I mean, that would, yeah. That's gonna piss anybody off, I guess.
Jesus.
So what happened to him?
So, yeah, basically he like disappears for like some time, like, for mourning.
Going into mourning, yeah.
And then I was trying to research. I was like, well, what exactly did he do during this like off period? And basically he has another kid with someone else, which he apparently had a hell of a time at the wake.
Yeah, because he had the kid like, yeah,
like barely a couple months
later.
Which,
whatever, because, you know, you're mourning, you're like,
but then he becomes like someone. Really good friends with Glenn Close. Like,
huh?
yeah,
it's
so good friends, in fact, that it's like rumored that they were engaged at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, which was also weird. I could only find that they were rumored on one site, so could be true, could not be true. Just, they were really good friends, and there's multiple pictures you can find on the internet of them holding hands. So they were good friends.
Weird.
Which was weird. Then it's all like, oh, well, then he died in 2004 of a drug overdose, which basically was ruled a fatal dose of morphine. And I was like, well, what all of a sudden made him turn and do that? And so basically, I guess Inside Edition leaked that the case of his girlfriend had been reopened after new evidence surfaced, and he had become a person of interest.
Oh, shit.
And they basically said there was evidence that the scene had been staged and the gun had been handled after firing it.
Holy shit.
So, yeah. So then I was like, okay, that's suspicious. So I tried to find, like, if he had ever been officially, what do I want to say, like, officially charged? Which I guess he wasn't. Basically, when he died, they closed the case and were like, yeah, he did it. Which sucks.
Wow.
But when I was researching that, I found this really weird thing that kept popping up.
Yes.
That was basically like...
You should read it.
I should read?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or give me the website and I'll read it, because it's Like, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so I found it on a couple different sites, but basically this kept popping up every time I like typed in searching for like what exactly happened with him. And it's called The Cover-Up. Back in the day, there was a murder. It involved an actor who was probably B-list at the time, but everyone knew him. Solid character actor. Everyone knew he did it, but kept giving him work. Not as much, but just enough to keep him going. The actor ended up killing himself right before the police were going to arrest him again after new evidence was given to them. What was the new evidence? A witness to the murder who had stayed silent for several years about the murder because the person thought they were going to be charged too. For years after the murder, the witness had huge drinking and drug issues because of it. The stress was killing them, so they finally went to the police. How had this person been a witness? She had been there the night of the killing having sex with the actor. Who was the witness? A B-list actress who was more famous then, but all of you know. Murderer, Robert Pastorelli.
And it tells who the murderer is, yeah.
Victim, his girlfriend. B-list actress, Natasha Lyonne.
Oh shit.
Yeah, which I was like, what the fuck?
What?
Like, what the fuck?
So it just like, the more I researched it, the more I was just like, what the hell is going on?
And,
like
they knew each other because they were in a movie together. So I like it just kind of made it seem like maybe
and she does have like major
yeah, and she did have like what they're saying adds up. Granted, that's like a rumor site, and they have some weird shit on that site because I started going through it, and it's just like
I found it on a couple different sites.
well, it's the same thing though.
Yeah.
But like the timelines add up because she had drug problems and then whatever. But they made it like it kind of seems like maybe he was like. Didn't you say like the girlfriend was out of town?
The girlfriend was out of town, and it sounds like she came home, found them, and was basically like, "Okay, I'm done." And started an argument. From the sounds of it, she basically pointed the gun at her head, but according to multiple sites, he basically said, well, then do it. And I guess he changed his mind, or there was some sort of scuffle over the gun. I'm not saying he did do it. I'm not saying he didn't. People don't know, and it basically didn't get any further look at after he died, so we'll never know. But I just thought, holy shit, this guy had a pretty crazy life.
Yeah, no, that's a crazy story.
Yeah, and just like
Right
the thing
there.
with I don't even know if it's true, but just like the thing with Natasha Lyonne was when I read that I was like, holy shit, like what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Which, I mean,
That
this
was
happened
not the
in
name I was
99.
expecting.
And that movie they were in...
Yeah, some vampire movie that they were in like right before it happened. So yeah, but I don't know. It was just weird stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, that was it. It just seemed like the more I researched this guy, the more I was like, what the heck? Oh yeah, 1998, so it was
Yeah.
like the same time frame.
Mm.
Weird.
Yeah. So first it was like, oh, the guy overdosed. Wait, he overdosed because
On
his
purpose, maybe?
girlfriend
Who knows?
died? That sucks. Oh, no, he overdosed because he was going to jail?
They were investigating him. I don't know.
Wow.
And then it was
Yeah,
like,
that's a
oh
lot of-
shit, other people are involved in this.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't know.
Hollywood's a crazy place. Oh, and then so I mentioned this to, and he told me that one of his like frat fellas, his brother-in-law is a entertainment lawyer, and he's like, man, some of the stories that he will tell the guy are just like, of what they cover up are just fucking insane. And he told me he said that the only reason that Ray Rice got in trouble is because someone didn't pay someone enough to cover that up.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so
Yeah, no.
basically whenever
That's-
anything leaks, it's because someone either didn't know they could get paid or someone didn't pay them enough.
Yeah, because the Ray Rice thing, that happened, and then like 3 months later, then the video came out. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah, so which is I'm like, fuck man, that shit's crazy. He's like, yeah, that place is yeah. Anyway,
Sir.
yeah.
Yeah. You peel that story like an onion.
Which is it weird? The weirdest part of the whole story, I was like, Glenn Close?
Yeah, that's... Yeah, you're right. That is like the most what the fuck part.
Well,
I felt like that was the weirdest
like
part.
she was telling me stuff. I was like, "What does that have to do with it?" And she's like, "I don't know, but it's just fucking weird."
I just think it's fucking weird. Like, I mostly felt bad too because like she's definitely part of his Wikipedia, but he is not on her Wikipedia at all.
yeah, I don't know. Like it got like any
Like a stain got rubbed off her.
like
her
when he started getting
image or
reinvestigated.
whatever. Yeah, basically.
But anyway,
Yeah, but I
weird
just thought that was
stuff.
sad.
So to bring it all back around, I guess back to the I guess finish it off.
When the big man was killed, you must have wanted it. Its blood was on the leaves.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
As far as rating, what were we doing? 1 to 5?
Yeah, how many irons would you pump for it?
Okay.
How many irons would you pump for it?
I'm gonna give it two irons
You'd pump 2 irons for it?
Out of what?
out of 5.
Oh, okay.
No, I feel like I'm being too harsh. 2 or 3.
You would like lift,
Yeah, but then
But
give up
not-
like halfway through.
yeah, and have to have like a spotter come over. So like 2.5 irons. Okay. I've been doing a lot of thinking about my iron pumping rating.
Yeah, like what the top is and the.
Yeah, I was pretty hard set on some things, and even after all the thinking, this one and the last one are pretty much the same. I'd pump 2 irons for this.
Okay.
It's not a bad movie. It's just not a particularly good one.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, like Running Man is a lot better.
Yes, it's just dated, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's much more enjoyable, like
Yeah.
rewatchable,
Yes.
especially. A little peek behind the curtain for the listeners. Like, there's some delays in getting this part recorded. A, because I was working a lot. B, there's a whole fucking election thing.
Yeah.
And C, I was just not really looking forward to watching it again.
Rewatching the movie.
Yeah, just like it just felt like work,
Yeah. Should
so
try
this
running
movie's-
through it.
Yeah, this movie's fine. Like it was much closer to 1 iron pumped than it was to 2, or than it was
Or
to
3.
3 for me.
Yeah, I'm just trying
Yeah.
to be nice, I think. Where I'm like,
Yeah.
but yeah, probably 2.
Yeah, like the stunts are good. The gun's cool. It's not a bad movie, but it's not particularly
not a
good.
memorable movie. Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
All right.
I mean, we'll see. Fuck, who knows if we'll ever even get a 1 iron pumped.
Sure, we can
Yeah.
find one. There's got to be one.
Well, my thinking would be Hercules in New York, but that might just like
Funny.
Okay, so yeah, all right. So there's a game called Civilization. That's
I have it on my phone.
Civ's.
Sid Meier's, I think.
Yeah, Sid Meier's Civilization. So there's a whole thing. It originally started as a glitch in the first one, and then Civ 5 came around and became like a staple. And it's like a whole meme with the game. Basically, there was some weird code that was going on. Gandhi is supposed to be like the most peaceful leader, and then at one point, everybody, his aggressiveness is at 1, like a scale of 1 to 5. And then at some point, everybody gets nukes, and everybody's aggression is supposed to go down. But since his was already at 1, it'd go into the negative numbers, so it went back up, like all the way to the top. So once
It's go to
nukes,
5.
once like Gandhi got nukes, yeah, he became like super nuke heavy,
Yeah.
and just became like just started dropping nukes on everybody. And it's funny because it's Gandhi.
Yeah.
Some stupid little glitch that only happened in specific circumstances in the original game and is now like part of the lore of the game.
Nice.
That's kind of how I am expecting Hercules of New York to be, because it is super dumb and ridiculous and such a terrible movie.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
I have it on DVD actually. But yeah, like when they released it, it was dubbed with somebody else's voice, and like the DVD I had has like a big thing on it, like now with the original Arnold.
With his voice in
vocals. Yeah, voiceover, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I think that movie might just be so bad that I can't help but flip it back around from a 1 to 5, just because like this is so fucking terrible. It's good.
Like the only 5.
Yeah. Yeah, move over, Terminator 2. But if anything, that would be that would be a 1, or maybe
Okay.
some random like later movie. But
Yeah.
you got to be subjective about this thing because it is a 1 to 5 out of Arnold movies. So
Yeah, true.
some of them have to be 1s.
Yeah. Okay, then 2 for sure. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
2. But
That's fine.
all right. Well, I guess that's that.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone
Oh, yeah,
for
thanks.
listening to See You at the Potty, Richter.
Yeah, we'll see you at the potty, Richter.
There we go. That's a lot better.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
Yeah. Wait, and if any of you listening want to reach us, you probably already know us because that's probably the only people that's actually listening to this. So just like send us a text or something. But if somebody that's listening to this that doesn't know us, you can email us at seeyouatthepotty.net. That doesn't exist right now, but it will very soon. So that's see you, just like the first part, and then at the at symbol, and then the potty, THEPODDY, and then .net.
Was the
There's some-
was it thepotty.com?
Oh yeah, I was taken. Unfortunately.
What is it? Did
So-
you look?
Somebody owns that domain, but like,
Okay, it's not an actual site.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately.
Okay. Well, see you guys.
All right, bye.
See you at the party, Richter!